Hello and welcome to this exciting episode of the Inspire Hub podcast. My name is 𝗶𝘀𝗽𝗶𝗿, and today I'm speaking to John Soneka. John, good to have you.
Thanks so much, Jeff, and we're happy to have you at Zuks today.
And the good thing is that this is the very first episode we're shooting in the year 2026. So happy New Year!
We are lucky then. Thank you so much, and happy New Year to you too.
Yeah, but just to kickstart our conversation, who is John Soneka beyond Zuks branding?
Um, John Soneka is a complex character. I'll call him a complex character because up to now, personally, I don't really know who this Johnson is. But anyway, John Soneka is a Zambian entrepreneur, born a certain 30th January, a certain year. Of course, he's to under 30. Yeah, you have to understand. Yeah, and here he is. He's the co-founder of Zuks Branding, with a background in computer studies and software development.
Wonderful. Could you tell us one moment in the year 2025 or something that had shaped, the values that you have or that you're using in 2026?
Interesting. We made some few mistakes in hiring my team, and that has made me realize one thing whenever I'm looking for potential team player to grow the team. Yeah.
All right. Now, you, having known you, I've had the opportunity to know you for a bit, but for somebody, who could be watching and growing up in a society and a culture like we have in Zambia, at what point in your childhood did you begin to realize that you are different from other children?
Oh yeah. By the way, we need to mention this. John is a guy living with albinism. Proud of saying it and proud of being it. I believe probably it's one of the reason why I'm doing whatever I'm doing because I'm built different. I realized it at a very young age, and also because the family accepted it. And at one point, they groomed me to accept who I am and not showing the difference. It's not showing that I'm different from the rest. And I always believe it's the family that made me realize that there's no difference between me who's lacking melanin and you or anyone else there who has 100% melanin. Yeah, it's just a difference in color and nothing else.
So your family played a very key role in bringing that understanding to you, in helping you to accept, that understanding of being different but special.
That's correct.
Could you take us back to the time that you started the dream of Zuks branding?
Yes, the dream of Zuks branding started as way back as 2014. Yeah, 2014, when I was trying to put my life in order and writing down how I wanted, the type of company I wanted to build or the type of places I wanted to work. And it never materialized until 2019 when I met my co-founder, Ivan Musa, and we were at a youth camp, a church youth camp in Kabwe, and I remember that date. It was on the 19th April 2019, the youth camp in Kabwe. We sat down around 01 to 02, because by then I had a brand called Jason Studio, and Ivan had a brand called Benny Production. And since we're in the same space, we thought of merging the two. And yeah, we made the two. And the name we started with was not even Zuks branding. We started this company as Eminent Production. It's until 2022 when we're officially registering it with Pakra that we found that Eminent Production was already taken and we had to find another name, and Zuks branding came up. Yeah.
Now you talk about the fact that Zuks branding is a co-founded company,
Yeah.
and there's just something in our culture that Zambians are not yet at a stage that they can collaborate. And I've personally seen collaborations of businesses that have broken down irretrievably because of having one or two parties that are within the business that are not agreeing. Have you guys made it work?
Yeah. First of all, we have to understand whenever you are trying to co-found something, you have to understand each other. Okay, Ivan and I were coming from almost the same environments. We were going at the same church. We were at the same university. We used to stay in the same house. We've stayed in the same house for almost 5 years, and I used in school I was doing IT and he was doing banking and finance, and of course all of us had and still have that zeal with technology, and the reason why this really worked it because we do complement each other. I'm good with technical stuff. He's good with financial stuff. And even when we started structuring things, we went like, go with what you are good with, manage it. I'll go with what I'm good at, and I'll be managing it. And yeah, that's what has made us to stay floating and on the same page up to now, and also being really clear and open to each other. We know each other very well as of today. I know what he can achieve, he knows what I can achieve, and things have been written down. We know there's nothing that can surprise us of today. Yeah.
All right. A lot of the times there are disagreements so
Yeah.
within the business spectrum that gets to happen. Have you guys written down something anyway to say, okay, this is how we work, in this, how do you manage the relationship where, sometimes we have personal interests. John, today you could wake up and say, okay, I want to buy a very big vehicle, so let's get money out of the business and
Of
let me
course.
do this.
Of
Yeah.
course. Such moments in a business partnership, we can't run away from them. But one thing we have put in place, as I mentioned, documentations. We have made things clear. We know how much each one of us is worth in the business. All of us are on a salary. That is one of the first thing we did when we started. Of course, when we started, I was not full time. I was part time, and Ivan was full time. Because I was part time, I was only allowed. I was only getting some few allowances, and he was on full time salaries, and that has continued, and that's what is helping us even to make our personal decisions and also know how to manage the finances, because we know business money is not my money. Business money is not his money. His money is his money. Business money is for the two of us. Whatsoever decision that we have to make based on the business money, I always consult him. Of course, looking now at the hierarchy that we have established, because as I mentioned, currently I'm the CEO and is the chief financial executive, and there are some executive decisions that I can take for the interest of the business, which is really understood. And yeah, but for the past 3 years, we've never had tough moments or disputes that we have not resolved. Reason being, we have been open to each other. We always have conversations, and one thing that has also helped us is having tough conversations. Yeah. I know my weaknesses, and Ivan is one of those guys who sometimes sit me down and go like, "This route you want to take is not right." We have built that time of relationship where we don't fear each other, but we tell each other the truth. If you are not happy with what I've done, say it there and then we'll move on.
Yeah. Now you mentioned that you were part time in the business, and a lot of times I think entrepreneurs, they're in this space where you are working somewhere, you have something going on. At how did you handle the transition, quitting a job, and going into the business, or did you quit the job to start the business, or did you quit the job
Interesting
to be
enough.
in the business? Like, what's the formula there?
Okay. Interestingly, when we started because we registered Zuks in that was 16 June 2022. By the 16 June 2022. Yeah. By then, I just got a contract with BPTN. Yeah, I was from Zamtel, went to BPTN. Of course, when I was in Zamto, that's when we started buying some equipment. And then I got a contract with BPTN and I had to start. Because it was just a new job that I got, we sat down and went like, man, this is just a new job I've been offered. But we need one person to be full-time at the office. And Ivan by then was working for Aritech, and that's how he decided, 𝗶𝘶𝗵 decided to say, okay, let me start building the brands. You focus on BPTN since your contract is for 3 years. But if we do 2 years and you see that the business is now able to sustain both of us, you can quit. And I was with BPTN for almost 2 years, because I stopped working for BPTN in January 2024. Meaning it has been now 2 years that I'm full-time with Zuks branding. One thing you should know, Zuks branding is fully bootstrapped. No external capital investments. It's money that's us, Ivan and I, have always been putting together, and whatever that comes as revenue, we just reinvest.
Right. Now, for an entrepreneur that's watching this, and what's the way? Do you just like woke up, okay, it's 2026, I gotta quit my job and start a business? Or what's the process over there?
There's no general formula or general process, or a process that can fit all. I know people who quitted jobs to start business and they failed. I know people who quitted jobs, started business, succeeded. I know people who never worked and just went straight into entrepreneurship. But the advice I can always give is analyze yourself, know your strength, know what, because running a business is not a child play. Having staff is not a child play. Renting a space is not a child play. Getting customers is not a child play. I can tell you, we spent 3 to 4 months without making any money, and we had 2 staff to pay, then we had renters to pay. If we didn't bank up some few monies, I don't know how we could have survived. All I can advise everyone out there is, whenever you are planning to go into entrepreneurship or starting a business, always have a solid plan. One good thing is, when we started, we were young. Okay, we never had responsibilities. But for some guys out there, you might find you already have a family and whatsoever. You have to consider all those things before you take a decision of going into business full time.
Okay. How has been different shaped how people look at you as a businessman?
Controlling how people look at you, it's very difficult. But from few observations, there's one thing I've always been telling people: don't employ me because I'm different, but employ me because I'm capable of doing what you want. I'm capable of providing solutions to some of your problems. And some people so far have not had a case of not being employed because I'm different, because personally I don't see myself different. I always move with this scripture that says, I'm like Christ and I can do anything because the Christ is in me. To me, I would say, by God's grace, it has never really clicked to be sidelined because of being different. But I know there are people out there who have been victim of it.
Have you ever had a time in your life that somebody, even in business, that somebody had to underestimate you because of being different?
Not really because of being different, but because of my age. Yeah, I remember at one point, by then I was 25, going for a very good deal, and had a conversation, and one of the guys in that boardroom, I don't know what was going through his mind, went like, how old are you? I told him I'm 25. He looked at me, went like, what? this project we can only give someone who's 35 and above, and because looking at ABCD, I was like, no, but age doesn't really matter. What matters is experience and stuff, proving that we are able of doing. Of course, we lost that project because that was one of the guys who had influence to give the project, and because he made that statement which didn't really sit well with us. And the crazy part, during that meeting, I mentioned to him to say, you are not giving us a project because of our age. Better looking at the quality of work we can provide rather than the age. We have run some big projects already in this country.
Right. Do you feel the pressure to deliver, or growing up? Did you ever feel the pressure to deliver? I mean, just now in business, because you are different, and you think that if you don't deliver, people might think otherwise.
Definitely. I have that pressure literally every day. One of the things that I always fear is failure. And because I am also setting a precedent for people living with albinism, okay? We have very few, probably none, in the printing space who have companies. And I'm trying to set also a precedence for them to say, you can have albinism, you can be a person living with albinism, but you can still build a brand. And every day that always clicks in my mind to say, if we lose a project, I might set a bad precedence for another guy living with disability to be getting such type of projects, and I'm very cautious about that.
Okay. How as how have you managed to look at your difference as a strength?
Few things. First of all, is knowing what triggers the thought of thinking you are different and trying to avoid it, definitely. And also being open-minded, first of all, understanding that you can't control what people think about you, you can't control what people say about you, you can't control what the perspective people have about your life or about the way you look. Because I can tell you, we have even guys who have 100% melanin, but they're being looked down. Yeah. Understanding that's really helped me to set my mind to say, whatever you say has no impact on me. This is my life and I'm living it the way God has created me, and that's what matters.
Okay, wonderful. You seem to have a very strong sense of a good sense of self-esteem, and self-worth. But living in a society like ours, what misconceptions do you think that people have about albinism that I think you think they get it wrong and it's really not what it is?
Yeah, we have a lot of myths. Yeah, we have a lot of myths and we have a lot of misconceptions. First of all, one thing we have to understand is albinism is not something that comes it's not a hazard things. It's something that can happen to anyone and can also be prevented, because albinism comes from the genes, and every human being are categorized in three ways. It's either you are carrying the albinism gene, or you are having it, like me, I'm having it, or you are carrying, or you don't have it. It happens that the two parents are carrying, they might be black, but they are carrying the gene. There is high possibility of them having a child with albinism, which was my case. And with the African culture, because we are not knowledgeable about this transfer of genes, we always think when a child is born with albinism, it's either the mother did rabbi somewhere else with a white guy, and they confuse us with colored people, which is not the case. Okay. And so those are some of misconception people have, and also the myth that causes that result into ritual killings, which I know last year In Zambia, we recorded almost 3 racial killings of people with albinism, and yeah, but in general, it just we have a lot of myth and misconception around it. But as time goes, we believe people have started understanding the source of albinism, and some have been preventing it, and some have not. Yeah.
How would you like your story, to change the way people look at people like yourself, people that are different from people that have full melanin?
Um. First of all, as a human, we need to really cultivate the Ubuntu principle. You are alive because I'm alive. I'm alive because you are alive, regardless of your your socio-economical, whatever backgrounds, or your physical background and whatsoever. If we start looking at people beyond their lookings, beyond their appearance, beyond the families they are coming from, beyond their tribes, I believe will really make a better place for everyone. Mind you, everyone has been created the way they are created for a purpose. Some it's to inspire others, some it's to prove that everything is possible, and we need to start looking at people beyond the way they look, beyond the way beyond the way they are made of. Yeah, let's start focusing on the importance or the impact they bring on the table rather than the way they look. Yeah.
Now, John, you have been a major branding partner for most of the events that we have held, here in Zambia. Your logo is always somewhere. If there's a big event somewhere, you're gonna see Zuks, branding there to somebody who is different like you, and they are listening to this. What should you like to tell them, especially that they could have a big dream that would require them to put themselves out there, and maybe they fear stigma, or maybe they'll fear they will not be accepted, but you have been able to put yourself on platforms that even people with melanin, so to say, are fearing.
Yeah.
So, just speak to that as we get to round off this episode.
Oh yes. There's one thing I always tell even my team and everyone around me. I always give them this analogy. What you keep in your bedroom is for you and you alone. Jeff, the way you are right now, it's only you who knows how your bedroom looks like. Maybe with 1 or 2 guys you've allowed to enter your bedroom to see. What you bring in your sitting room, it becomes for you and your family. If a TV is in the sitting room, everyone in the family sees that TV, okay? What you bring on the streets becomes for everyone to see.
Yep.
And this is literally the same thing with everyone who is dreaming out there. If you keep that dream to yourself, it will only benefit you, and it only be you who know what you've been thinking about. That means it's still in your bed. You are still in your bedroom. If you talk to 1 or 2 guys from your family and they know what you are trying to build and whatsoever, maybe 10 people might know. That means you've taken it in the sitting room. But if you want to make big impact, you need to bring it on the streets, because that's where massive impact is. And today's life has been made very easy with social medias. By the way, social media is what really brought me out of my comfort zone, more especially LinkedIn. Majority of the jobs I've gotten, they were LinkedIn based. People from LinkedIn reached out and say, "Oh, we've seen your work and ABCD." And I consider social media now to be the streets of today. Whatever dream you have, bring it out, share it with people. Mind you, there's nothing new under this on earth today. That idea you are thinking you are the first person to have it, you are not. Someone else has already been thinking about it. There's nothing to hide. bring it on the table, discuss with someone. Before you know, someone will introduce you to someone else. Before you know, someone will know, and before you know, your brand will grow. And I believe that the strategy Zuks used, and here we are. Oh, as you've mentioned, we've partnered with a number of events, and some events we probably gave them less than 500 kwacha, but our presence was still there.
All right, John. Thank you so much for taking your time to
Thank you so much.
share with
Yes.
us these exciting thoughts. I had something else to ask you, except we've got to wait for the cameras to go off because it has to
Come
do with
on.
love.
Come on.
Let's do that. But we'll wait for the cameras to go off, and then I get to ask you that question. Thank you so much for watching this episode of the Inspire Hub podcast. We're speaking to John Soneka, the CEO of Zuks Branding. Make sure to subscribe as we bring to you more conversations like this one. I'd like to wish you a happy new year, and bye bye.